how William Wallace crushed the English knights at Stirling Bridge. This is the story of how an outnumbered rebel army defeated the ultimate medieval weapon. Heavy cavalry was the medieval tank, an unstoppable wall of steel and muscle designed to crush anything in an open field. This was the ultimate force of the Middle Ages. A charge of heavy knights meant certain annihilation for infantry. The year is 1297. King Edward I believes Scotland is broken, but a rebel army, led by William Wallace, is rising to face the professional might of the English crown. The problem for the Scots was simple. In a fair fight, they would die. They were outnumbered, outgeared, and facing an army built for open battle. The English came with thousands of heavy knights, the very definition of an unstoppable force in medieval warfare. The Scottish army consisted mostly of unarmored spearmen, ill-equipped to withstand a direct cavalry charge. William Wallace and Andrew Murray weren't looking for a fair fight. They were looking for a choke point. They were looking for a place where the English advantage, the horse, would become a liability. They were looking for a meat grinder. That choke point was Stirling Bridge. It was wooden, narrow, and only allowed 2 horsemen to cross at once. To the English, it was a minor inconvenience. The Scottish strategy was forced funneling. They took the high ground on Abbey Craig and waited. They wouldn't move, they wouldn't charge. Patience was Wallace's weapon. He watched as the mighty English army began to crawl across the bridge. The English commander, the Earl of Surrey, was overconfident. His treasurer, Hugh de Cressingham, urged him, "Why waste money? Just cross and kill them." Wallace waited. He needed enough English across to make the victory meaningful, but not so many that he was overwhelmed. The threshold was reached. 2,000 English soldiers were across the bridge. With 2,000 soldiers bogged down in the marshy loop of the River Forth, Wallace gave the signal. The Scots didn't just charge the front, they sprinted for the bridgehead. In a flash, the spearmen seized the north end, slicing the English army in 2. The knights in the vanguard tried to wheel their horses, but the ground was a swamp. There was no room for a charge, no momentum to build. The Scottish schiltrons, dense walls of long spears, closed in. Trapped against the deep river, the English tanks were pulled from their saddles and gutted in the mud. It was a slaughter, but what was the immediate result of this tactical masterclass? The bridge, overloaded and sabotaged, collapsed under the weight of the chaos. The Earl of Surrey, watching his elite vanguard vanish, turned his horse and fled. By sunset, 5,000 English lay dead. The myth of the invincible knight was shattered. William Wallace was no longer a rebel. He was the guardian of Scotland. The lesson of Stirling Bridge is simple. Numbers mean nothing if you control the space. Victory isn't always about who has the most steel. It's about who has the most patience.